Morning, everybody. Very good to be here with my nice, snappily titled presentation. So, smart estate, fascinating topic, but a wide one. One of the reasons why we were so pleased to be headlining the event today was because we have just released our latest piece of research called, there you go, Voices of 2030. So what this is we have gone out and interviewed leaders from 25 countries across 4 continents about what they see as the future of digital and how that can catalyse government into a new way of working between citizens, government, operations. Fascinating thing, I promise. There's a QR code which I'll put on the end. A couple of real interesting things that have come out of the research. Number one, unbelievable level of talent in the CDIO, CIO community right around the world. I've worked in the public sector about 20 years of various companies, and it's really pleasing to see the growth of the talent and the skills and the drive and the passion, not just here in the UK, but right across the planet, of digital and improving citizens' experiences. Second part of the presentation today, after I've covered some of the key themes from that report, is a few words about how in KPMG we look to approach big-scale transformations. Big theme on sustainability, as Matt's just said, but also something I'm particularly passionate about, which is optimisation of what we already have, as well as doing transformation for real transformation's sake. But more on that in a few seconds. So, what are the trends? But before I get into that, I want to tell you a little story. It's September the 15th, 2030, very specifically, 6 a.m. I'm out for a run, because it's the day before the Great North Run, and I always go for a little run the day before Great North Run. Little shakeout, not far, not fast, but I always run the last part of the course just to get myself loose and so I can get familiar with what I'm doing the next day. It's my 10th year in a row. Yay me. So I'm out for a run, minding my own business. It's been a big storm the night before, climate change. Huge trees come down, blocking the middle of the track. There's 100,000 people going to be running this race in 24 hours' time. This is a problem. This is the flagship thing for the northeast of England. You may be able to tell I'm from the northeast of England. So I'm stressing about this. I'm running along, and I say out loud, government, issue, Great North Run, hazard, needs fixing. A few seconds later, I get a ping on my device that says, will you accept an invitation to the GovVerse, government's version of the metaverse? Of course I will. I arrive in the metaverse, the GovVerse, and I'm greeted by someone from maintenance and someone from finance. They say, take me to the problem. Off I go, wander around, have a look at the problem. Maintenance person says, we need a specialist organisation to get rid of this tree. I know exactly what to do, but I'm going to need some money. Finance person says, approved, surge funding, all agreed. I'm like, are you all good? Thanks, Cole. Off on your way. I run home, having a relax. A few hours later, 2 more notifications. One is, I've won an award, civic award, for doing great stuff. I've saved the Great North Run. So the government's issued this out. I get a little badge. Everyone likes a badge. Second thing I get is a notification from my favourite coffee shop in North Shields, Cullercoats Coffee. Congratulations, you've also won a free cup of coffee. Life is great. But what does this have to do with the Voices of 2030, other than a very strange story? Well, I use it because it identifies and highlights the 4 key digital trends that our leaders from right around the world have told us will be used by government in 8 years' time. The first one is the symbiosis, another word, the relationship between computers and humans being seamless, the rise of cognitive computing. In my example, when I say the keywords government, issue, Great North Run, which I've already predetermined, I have already then given the government access to me to get into the GovVerse so I can talk to the people I need to talk to resolve the issue. They know where I am, they know who I am, they know what I'm doing. Now that sounds awesome, but also a tiny bit scary. Like, are they tracking me? No, because of the advent of the decentralisation of data. This is a huge one for me. So in 2030, I own my own data. The government doesn't own my own data, private companies don't own my own data. There is one data set and it's mine. My name, my address, my location. I have already pre-authorized the government to get access when I say my keywords. It's extraordinarily powerful. Information stored once, accessed securely by my own volition. But what does Colour Coats Coffee have to do with it? This is the rise of digital natives and the amplification of no-code delivery. Coffee shop, barista, has a great idea. I know what we should do. Every time someone does something good for the local community, we should give them an award. They build an app, they get the integration, the government publishes all of its open data standards, again, securely, because I've all okayed all this stuff, because I want free stuff, and I definitely like free coffee. So I get my award. This is a great day in 2030. It's safe, it's secure, it's automated, I get free stuff. But finally, it also drives to our sustainability agenda. If this happens today, I ring up, I fill in a form, people come out, they check it out, they need a bigger, crane, a different saw, they go back out, they do it again, lots of travel, lots of discussion, lots of discourse, lots of information stored in systems. Not anymore. Digital can provide solutions to our sustainability agenda by looking at processes and making them less impactful. There is a catch, however, which I'll get onto in the next slide. The most interesting thing about this, other than a fascinating story, is that all the technology I've just described already exists today. This is not science fiction. These are all real things that we can really do. So the question really becomes, how do we take advantage of these things, and how do we set ourselves up for success? So here at KPMG, we talk about connected, we talked about sustainability, and if I'm being honest, it's only me really talks about optimization, but I'm a big fan of it, and I'll explain why in a second. So connected, very easy. Everything is connected. You can't do a technology transformation. It doesn't work. You can't drive a technology project. It doesn't work. And it's not just about the experience. It's about everything that's connected in the end-to-end processes of what we're trying to achieve as an organization. Every time we do something, we need to look at all of the elements that are related to the thing that we're trying to improve. It's never just one thing. We have 8. I'm not going to go through them all now, but these are everything that we need to look at every time we do a piece of transformation. If you miss one, there needs to be a reason why. How do we do these things sustainably? Lots of discussion about assessing and reporting, lots of vendors selling out, beautiful dashboards to do beautiful things, and that's very important that we understand the sustainability impact of the processes that we're trying to improve, definitely. But it's only one part of the story. Get the information out, get the data, work out the impact of the thing that you're doing. Great. Step number 1. Step number 2, come up with innovative, intelligent, digital solutions to drop the overall carbon footprint. So again, in my example, that's me with my wearables, getting into the GovVerse, having all my chat, it's all great. That will improve and drop the amount of emissions that we make. Brilliant. But the third one that we need to be aware of, and I heard this called by one of my other supplier friends as green ops, which is a cool term, and I'm totally going to steal it, is the architecture and the maintenance of the solutions that you are doing massively impacts the amount of footprint that you emit, hugely. We all know the stats, right? 2019 or maybe 2018, digital has more emissions than the entire global aviation industry. That's a bit weird. By 2040, digital is proposed or projected to be more emitting than the United States of America at 14.5%. Now, vendors are doing a lot of work, right? Microsoft, Google, Amazon, huge amounts of investment into green running of data centers. But it's also up to us as the people implementing digital solutions to architect them and maintain them in an efficient way. If you architect things in a certain way, you can drop your emissions by 50%. 50%. If you maintain it in an intelligent way, you can drop it by another 25%. And this starts to make a real impact into the sustainability agenda by using digital. It's not just as straightforward as assessing. It's not just as straightforward as having new solutions. You also need to architect it and maintain it. And then finally, all about optimization. If you do transformation twice, you haven't done a transformation. You've done a project. And that might be fine, but if you want to transform, you need to get into a position where your estate is optimized so we can take advantage of these new pieces of technology so they can integrate them in an interoperable way we can store data once, seamlessly and easily. That might be my cue to be done. And it is. So, the key and the final thing to say, optimization should always be the goal. Simple, interoperable, everything as a service, everything evergreen. Thank you very much for listening.